Episode 13, The Silence of the Sonograms. Mick Rory is going into labor. But this episode starts where we left off when Sarah heard the music coming from the next room, and then she goes over to the next room, and then she sees Bishop in there dancing. Her and Bishop get into a conversation, and she was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna cut your throat and watch you bleed all over the floor." And then Bishop tells her, he was just like, "No," because he was like, "You can't do that because he's like, I'm the last copy of my kind." He said that my program got corrupted when you blew up my base on that alien planet, and because of that, the upload never finished, so 6% of me is missing. But you still need 6% to make the whole copy whole. And Sarah didn't question in that moment where the other 6% came from, but I guess she wasn't really thinking about that. So she takes Bishop, she locks him up, she puts him in the force field containment cell. Everybody's looking at him. Even like Ava, like for Ava, it was a little bit more personal because Bishop was the person who created the Ava clones. And I guess, like at some point going through time, like Rip Hunter ended up snatching up one of the clones and he used them for the Time Bureau. But, he's kind of like family, like in a sense, because he is her creator, so she wanted to be the one to go and interrogate him and talk to him. So she goes in, she has a conversation with him. The two of them are basically talking back and forth, but while they're having their conversation, like Sarah felt like Ava was getting the better of him, but Bishop was actually turning the tables on her, and Bishop was getting into her head. He started bringing up the wedding, started bringing up things about her past, like the fact that she's a clone and he's a clone, and the fact that they're family, not having actual family, to be there, and then like the conversation of the wedding came up, and then, he even said he was like, "Oh, you were the Ava clone that was programmed to be the boss. You were programmed to be the thinker, the one that does everything, takes care of everything, and makes all the tough decisions." And then, Ava was just like, well, that doesn't make any sense. She was like, because I'm struggling to come up with this wedding thing. And she's like, I'm trying to plan this wedding. And she was like, normally I'm good at this stuff, but I can't plan the wedding. And then Bishop was like, yeah, because when I did your programming, there was a part of me that put blocks into place to prevent you from, like falling in love, because love can complicate things and it could take you off track. But you managed to break through those barriers and you found love anyway. So he was like, what makes you so special out of all the other clones? Like, he couldn't figure that out. In an effort to try to like reel him in, Ava ends up letting him help her with the wedding planning. So he's choosing different things, this, that, and the third. He picked a song for her, and then the song kind of got to her, and then she got a little bit emotional, and then she left the room. And then when Sarah came to try to talk to her, and then she was just like, it's not about you, Sarah. She was just like, like, I don't have anything. I don't have a clone. She's like, I don't have a family. I don't know how to love anything. She's like, I know absolutely nothing. And she was like, he kind of got in my head when I was supposed to get into his. And then, Sarah gave her the talk. She was just like, you're all about love and everything, and then you'll be perfect. We'll be perfect together. Don't worry about it. While the two of them were talking, Sarah at one point, she had said to Spooner, see, this is why I love Spooner. I've actually fallen in love with Spooner this entire season. She was just like, everybody clear out the room. Everybody leave the room. Leave Bishop alone. And then she told Spooner, she was like, I want you to watch him, and if he moves, shoot him in the face. And then Spooner was like, I bet. Because Spooner's been itching to pop off, on somebody, because every time she tries to shoot something, they always tell her nah. But Spooner was ready to blow like she was ready. That's why I mess with Spooner. I like Spooner. It takes us to Zari and Constantine, where Zari was talking to him about the whole fiasco with the board game. And she was like, like, I stabbed the monster in the back. And after I stabbed him in the back, you ended up with a scar in the same place that I stabbed him. So Zari was just like, yo, what's going on? And he was like, nothing, love. He was like, everything's all good. And then, she got mad and she left because she's like, you're lying to me, Johnny. And then she goes and she talks to Astra. And then she's like, I need help, trying to find out what's going on with John. And then Astra was just like, well, I wasn't with him when he drank from the Fountain of Imperium. So you got to talk to Spooner. So they go run up on Spooner. And while they, when they ran up on Spooner, they were just like, yo, what happened when John went to the Fountain of Imperium? And Spooner couldn't remember. So they ended up getting Spooner out of the room, because Ava went back to him to go talk to him at that point. They went to go get Spooner out of the room, and then Astra put a spell on Spooner, to try to get her to remember what she forgotten. And then she saw what she forgotten, and then she was like, yo, John never drank from the fountain. The fountain rejected him, but he took something out of a flask. And then, Zari immediately knew, because she's like, I've seen that flask, like for the last like 3-4 weeks. Zari goes back to him, she picks his pocket. She takes the, the flask from him. She goes back to Spooner, goes back to Astra. And then she's like, this is what John's been drinking. Astra smells it. And she's like, oh, it's like scarlet blood or something. And then she said, this is very dangerous. She said that John keeps taking taking this, it could kill him. And then John comes storming in. He's just like, you took my flask, love. He's like, you'll give it back. And then Astor was just like, but John, he was like, shut your ass. And he's like, give it to me. And then Zari hits him with she was just like, oh, she, because at this point, John looked like a straight up dope fiend at this point. And then Zari was just like, oh, she was like, here, John, either you could either have the flask or you could have me. You can't have both. He took that flask so quickly, I almost died. Just like, it's either this or me. Thanks. But then Zari was she was about to cry. And even I felt bad when she had that look on her face, like she was about to cry. And then he felt bad, and then he took the flask and he threw it in the garbage. And when he threw it in the garbage, nobody took it out of the garbage to pour it down the drain. They just left it in the trash can. But he took it out of the garbage, and then he begged Zari for help because he was just like, he's like, I can't kick the habit by myself. So she went back to the house, she went to go talk to him. So while the two of them were back in the house, he was just like, yo, I'm trying to kick the habit. You just got to help me. You got to help me. And she was like, don't worry, I'll be here. She's like, I'm going to make you some tea. Just sit back and relax. And then I guess the evil version of him, like his magical evil version, was talking to him, and he was like, come on, Johnny, take the juice. And he was like, no, I've kicked the habit. And he was like, you think you're going to get rid of me that easily? And then the two of them have like a verbal joust, like back and forth. Sarah and Ava are basically talking about their wedding plans because after Sarah talked her off the ledge, Ava was just like, yeah, she was like, these were things that Bishop and I came up with. And then Sarah was just like, oh, I like this. And then she was like, I like that. And then every single thing that, that Bishop had suggested, Sarah like loved, she overly loved. And then Ava started thinking, she was just like, yo, why? And then, because Sarah even said, Sarah was like, damn, it's almost like Bishop and I, like think exactly alike or have the same taste when it comes to weddings. And then that's when Ava started thinking, because she was just like, yeah, that's not a coincidence. So she did a DNA scan between Sarah's DNA and Bishop's DNA. And then she found out that 6% of Sarah exists within Bishop's body. Bishop even said that although 94% of him like uploaded it, into the machine, he said that Sarah's DNA was already on the cloud or was already on the server. So he just took 6% of her and added it to his to make the full 100%. But the 6% of Sarah that he took was all the knowledge and everything about her fighting skill, about her emotions, about the Wave Rider. So he knew the codes. He knew like the codes that Sarah would come up with to override Gideon, which he used those codes to override Gideon. He started locking everybody else out of the ship, and then he made his way towards Mick, who was in the doctor's bay because Mick was going into labor. So when Bishop goes in, he bumped into Sarah at one point. The two of them basically had a fight that went nowhere because both of them know each other's moves. But eventually, like, he took Spooner's gun and shot Sarah, and then he went into the room, and then he started to deliver the babies, because what Sarah had said was that Bishop was obsessed with creating an alien human hybrid clone. So she was just like, if he's obsessed with doing like an alien human clone, what better way to do that than to take the babies of Mick Rory, who are natural DNA human alien hybrids, because he mated with her like the old fashioned way. And Bishop even said, he was just like, yeah, he's like, all the times I was trying to make like an alien human baby, he said it never occurred to me to do it the old fashioned way and just have them like, get it on. So, he delivers the babies, and then everybody's trying to knock down the door to get to him because they think like he's hurting Mick. And then Spooner came up with the big guns, and then right before Spooner shot the door down, Bishop came out, and he had delivered, I guess, what was 48 babies, 48 eggs, and then he had them all sitting on the bay. Everybody was looking at the eggs, even Astra, who's looking at them like she's looking at them with the stink face. And then Bishop apologized to Sarah and Ava, and he was like, I just want to be a member of the team. And he was like, I'll go back to my cell, and he went back to his cell. But then when he went back to his cell, and then, Sarah still had the eye on him. Sarah still wasn't like, didn't trust him completely, but she did thank him for saving Mick. And then after he voluntarily went back to his cell, he pulled Mick's comm out of his pocket because he induced Mick's labor by pouring something into his ear, and it was supposed to like make the babies come out his nose. But in order for him to pour it into his ear, he had to take the comm out. He did that on purpose so he can get his hands on the comm. And when he put the comm in his ear, the first thing he did with the comm was he called John, because like Sarah said, when Sarah and Ava had figured it out, when they figured out that he stole Mick's comm and they figured out what his plan was, Sarah even said he was trying to find out who the most vulnerable was out of all of us. And apparently that's Constantine because of his whole addiction situation. So he called John on the comms. John was like, bugger off. He's like, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But then when his evil spirit version basically kicked his ass and made him take the juice, once John took the juice, the evil version of him took back over, which is basically him all along. He turned the comm back on, and then he was just like, yeah, what's this about me getting back my magic? So now John's back on the juice. Bishop's working with John now. And I guess he like the whole baby thing, he abandoned the whole baby thing. So, I mean, so the whole thing kind of came full circle because now, like, because there were so many different separate storylines so far for the entire season. It was the whole thing with Bishop and the aliens, Mick getting pregnant, and then John's whole thing. But now all three situations have actually blended together, and all three situations are coming together perfectly, and it makes perfect sense, which says to me we've probably only maybe got like 2 or 3 more episodes to go. So that was it, and thank you for tuning in. So let me know what's going on here, because I don't understand, unless Bishop is going to use Constantine's magic to further enhance his human alien clones, I don't see what Bishop needs Constantine for. Because even then he said, I can help you get your magic back. Why would he want him to get his magic back? What purpose would Constantine's magic serve for Bishop's cause and, you know, for Bishop's purpose? But I'm going to say this again. My prediction at the end of the season, because they had that one episode called Back to the Finale Part 2. The season finale is most likely going to be an episode called Back to the Finale Part 3. And when we go back to the finale for the 3rd time, the Sarah clone is going to push the real Sarah out of the way before she gets sucked up onto the alien ship. That is my prediction. So we'll see what happens. So like I said, and now thank you for tuning in. So leave your comments and questions and concerns down below. Let me know what you think about Legends of Tomorrow. What do you think is going on with the episode and where we go going forward, since we only got maybe like 2 or 3 more episodes to go. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Instagram. Hit the notification bell so you get notifications when all my videos pop up, because we're doing everything. We're doing Marvel stuff. We're doing DC stuff, both on HBO Max and on the CW, Disney Plus, and it's all good. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So until next time, till next week, for Legends of Tomorrow, take care, and I'm out this bitch.